Hi everybody, it's Matt here, your local friendly neighbourhood vestibular migraine sufferer. So if you subscribe to my channel, firstly a bit of an apology that I've not put any content up for pretty much most of the year. I think I did something in January, February. Not that you've been waiting with bated breath or anything, but I appreciate you subscribing to my channel and hoping to perhaps see the odd new content. But basically life has got in the way. I've been really busy with work, and unfortunately at the end of the summer, my girlfriend split up with me, which is obviously was upsetting and meant I wasn't really, in the right frame of mind to be posting videos about chronic illness. There's only so much crap you can consider and talk about in any period, isn't there? She split up with me 12 days-ish after telling me she was falling in love with me. So that obviously did mess with my head a little bit, but I'm doing a lot better now. And I can see that she was quite self-obsessed and a bit of a narcissist. So the lesson for me is to not try not to get involved with a narcissist in the future. But it's not always obvious, is it, when they come along? So that's enough about my crappy love life anyway. So the other side of the coin, so that's the first side of the coin, life happenings have got in the way. But the other side of the coin, which is what I mentioned in my last video, is there are only finite number of topics one can talk about with vestibular migraine. Unfortunately, the field of study, the understanding of the illness, the medicine, etc., doesn't move on that quickly. So I've covered a range of topics in my other videos. So if you're watching this one of my videos for the first time, please do go and look through my catalogue of videos. Hopefully there'll be some helpful stuff in there for you. But as I said, I feel a bit like I've reached a bit of a brick wall in terms of new topics to cover. There was something I wanted to talk about in my next video, which is now this video, which was a theory that was given to a friend of mine who unfortunately has developed vestibular migraine. And she was given a theory by one of the specialists she saw, and it was quite interesting. I think it was to do with it was associated with lying down. It was to do with how that can trigger dizziness or the blood pressure, making you therefore feel faint, or the world going white, thinking you're going to pass out. But we both can't remember what the theory was because it was a good couple of months ago. So unfortunately that's meant that there's the kind of a topic missing from this video really. So I've kind of thought I'd just turn it into just more of an update really as to where I'm at. So we are now 5 years at the point, almost, a little bit beyond my 5 years now, where I had come out of my chronic phase, the last time I was chronically ill with vestibular migraine. So 5 years ago, time flies. And for those who've not seen my other videos, since then I've never had another chronic phase. I've never been chronically ill for months and months, which is great. But I have had the odd attack. So I had quite a bad attack at the football about a year and a half ago. But fortunately, after about an hour, the symptoms disappeared and I didn't then descend into a phase of being chronically ill, which was great. So that shows that to me, the mitigations, such as the medication I'm on, addressing, the light issues, changing my diet a bit, it shows that they do work. I've now got the surfboard to ride the surf when the waves come, essentially. So for those who don't know it, there's a lot of detail on all this stuff in my other videos, but I'm on sertraline and propranolol. So then in America known as, is it Zoloft, I think, sertraline, and propranolol is often just known as beta blockers or beta blockers. So I'm on those two meds and they have worked for me. I've been fortunate to have found the right meds that work for me. I'm still on those. I'm having a review in about a month's time, which I have to have every year, and I'm hoping that I'll stay on them. I want to stay on them. Common sense prevails, so I don't foresee any issues there, fingers crossed. In terms of symptoms that I've experienced, as I said, I've had a couple of episodes, but in terms of symptoms that I'll experience, I still can sometimes experience derealization or depersonalization. That can be if I'm looking at a particular pattern or I'm in a particular lighting on a dull day, for example. I'll also experience that if I've had a bad cold or something. It usually sort of pangs a few of the traditional vestibular symptoms if I'm ill with something else like a cold, and I can feel depersonalization, as people in the States call it, if I've had a few late nights in a row, or if I've just struggled to sleep for a couple of nights in a row. Surprisingly, or well, not surprisingly really, because it doesn't actually surprise me, because this didn't happen when my mum was really poorly, so it didn't happen then when my girlfriend split up with me, but I didn't get any major symptoms as a result of those two stressful incidents, which stress, as we know, is a contributor and can trigger. It means you essentially can hit a threshold where things have stacked up, and stress is one of those building blocks that push you into an attack or a chronic phase. But fortunately, that didn't occur. Excuse me, choking on my own phlegm. So unfortunately, that didn't occur when my mum was poorly the other day, and it didn't occur when my girlfriend split up with me. So that's good news, and again shows that the medications, the treatments, the mitigations that I'm using do help. And what I've always wanted to get across from these videos is, firstly, give people tips and hints on how they can start to improve, how they can get better. But the big main one is that to show that you can and do get better. There is light at the end of the tunnel. There is a life at the end of this period you're going through when you're struggling with the vestibular symptoms, where it very much goes back into the background and you just live a normal life. And I do know some people suffer for a lot longer than I ever did, which is lucky for me and unfortunate for them. And often it is with women, unfortunately, and I think that shows a link to women and hormones, or women's hormones making this condition worse or making women more prone to this condition. And I've done a video on that, so check it out if you want to hear a bit more about that. So I'm lucky in the sense that I'm not a woman, and also lucky that I got better quicker than quite a lot of people have. So I don't want you to think I'm being crass about people who've struggled for a long time. If you're watching this and you've struggled for a long time, I don't want you to think I'm being crass about saying there is a future, there is a period in time in the future where you will get better. I still believe that for everyone, even if you've struggled for a long time. Our bodies change, our hormones change over the course of a life, and you're not the same in different parts of your life. So we're not the same as what we were when we were 4 years old, were we? We're not the same as what we were when we were 14, 15. So life is full of cycles, and you will get into a cycle where this period ends. So in terms of content and things, I know I've got a follower out there called Rich, so big up Rich, hope you're all right, mate. Rich has asked me a couple of times if I could do a video about being in the gym or getting back to the gym, or handling or managing being in the gym when you've got vestibular symptoms. But I've mentioned to Rich before, and I think I've said it on one of these videos, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that, because filming in a gym where there's scantily clad people probably would see me get some bracelets put on me and a taxi to take me down to the Nick, and I could do without that. So I think it'd be a difficult thing to get permission from my gym to do, so I probably won't be able to do a video on that. And I have done a couple in terms of how to cope in certain situations. So I think one of them was like a shop, hardware store, supermarket, and another one was catching a train. I would like to do one in the pub as well at some point, but it's not very different to the other ones in terms of the mitigation you would use, and it would just be a bit of an excuse for me to have a drink, and no one really needs to watch that on video. Not that I'm a slurper or anything, but as I said, content wise, I am struggling a bit now, because I have done videos for what, nearly 5 years, if not 5 years already, and there's only so many topics that one can cover on vestibular migraine. Finally, to finish off, I mentioned that I still experience derealization or depersonalization. One symptom I did experience, which was only last week, was heart palpitation. So my heart jolted and then beat really quickly for about 5 minutes, maybe a bit less. So it's disconcerting, but I didn't panic because I know what it is. So I did experience that, but I think that probably is a result of the stress I had been under over the summer, but then also I had reduced my propranolol slightly just to see how I went, and it's obviously linked to that as well. But check out my other videos, because I've put this hypothesis forward a number of times, but I think that the package of symptoms that are kind of packaged together under vestibular migraine, they are part of a wider issue with our bodies as sufferers. So I think the weirder symptoms like heart palpitations, breathing issues, which I've had, face twitching, which I've had, the feeling that I couldn't speak properly when I was having an attack, those weirder symptoms, for me, it doesn't seem logical that something going wrong with your vestibular system would cause those things. So what I think is happening is we've got a bunch of symptoms that are gathered together as vestibular symptoms, and then we've got a bunch of weirder symptoms, and they're all caused by, they all have a root cause, they're all symptoms of what I hypothesize is an issue probably with our central nervous system, linking to the vagal nerve and that kind of thing. So that for me is how I get around how can someone experience, for example, face twitching if they are just struggling a bit with their balance, because it's not logical. But my hypothesis to explain those things is that, well, some of those symptoms aren't related to the vestibular migraine, but they're related to a wider issue with our central nervous system that trigger these weird symptoms and trigger the symptoms that are commonly associated with vestibular migraine. So yeah, that's what I'd sum up there in terms of those weirder symptoms, and just acknowledging that I do occasionally experience the odd weirder symptoms still. As I said, the heart palpitation. The most common weirder symptoms that I can still get from time to time is the breathing, and that's usually telling me that I could potentially have an attack. So it's a good warning sign for me, really, to get out of a situation. If it's like a room with lots of light that maybe is starting to trigger me, I can get out of the situation. It's a bit like a spider sense, so to speak. So sorry, this is a bit of a ramble and doesn't have as much direction as my other videos, for the reasons I've outlined. But I just wanted to check in. Do keep posting comments. I'm sorry I've been a bit slower in replying to those at the moment, but as I said, I had a bit of a bad spell at the end of the summer, and talking about chronic illness on top of splitting up with your girlfriend is not the healthiest thing to do. So I needed a bit of a breather, but I have started replying to them again now. If I've missed your comment on any videos, do repost it. I apologise if I have. But also, people are absolutely free to drop me a message on Instagram. So I'm on Instagram at Cordelia, as in the Buffy character. So at Cordelia's Smile. So Cordelia's, so there's two S's there. There's an S for the end of Cordelia's and an S for Smile. And it's all one word, Cordelia's Smile, no apostrophe. And that's where you can find me on Instagram if you want to send me a message or give me a follow, or both. I'm happy to chat to you a little bit. But obviously, I do also recommend that you then check out my videos, because it gives you a lot more detail than I can in an Instagram message where my thumbs are going like, I can't cover 5 years worth of content in 2 minutes of my thumbs going at it. So anyway, thank you again though for watching my videos, if you have done, for commenting, likes, etc. And thank you for subscribing if you have. And I do hope I can post some more content going forward. If there are topics that I haven't addressed that you want me to, please do post them to me on the comments or on Instagram, and I'm happy to cover them, because to be honest, a few additional ideas would be great, because I can only, as I said, I've hit a bit of a brick wall in terms of what I can talk about. So as I usually say, for you new watchers to these videos, I always end with, as you were, you'll be again, because as I've said, just because you're poorly now doesn't mean that you won't be not poorly in the future. So as you were before you were poorly, you'll be again. And that is a quote from a song that I do like, and Google it if you want to know the song. If you don't give a shit, that's absolutely fine. But anyway, guys, take care, and as you were, you'll be again, and I'll see you all real soon.